Hey, what's going on, boxing fans and basketball fans? This is Sean, and I'm back. And as you know, I'm your host, but this time I have a new co host, and his name is Matthew Rayner. What's going on, Matthew?
What's going on, Sean? It's a really honor to be here with you. I've been following your work for a long time, both on the boxing and the basketball side. Of course, you've been on my podcast before, and it's
Yep.
great to come back and repay the favor and join you.
Yes. And matter of fact, while we're on here, give a shout out, man, for your podcast so people can go check out your own individual work.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Texas in Focus. We're everywhere podcasts are: Spotify, Apple, YouTube. About once a week, we do interviews with politicians and different interesting people around Texas. But of course, our favorite guest was when we did the Houston boxing show and we had Sean Craddock on the program.
Oh man, yeah, I appreciate. I had such a blast. As a matter of fact, when we talked about that, I think I had an perfect attendance, and it finally got broken a couple of months ago. I got called into work. I almost went a total of 3 years straight without missing one boxing show.
Well, you missing one show and all the rest of us missing about 15 to 20 a year. So I think you'll live.
Yeah. All right. So as you know, me and Matthew, I called him the other day. I found out recently how knowledgeable Matthew was when it came to basketball. He just blew my mind away. So I hit Matthew up the other day and said, "Listen, Matthew, it's been over a year since I've got on my YouTube channel and done stuff. So let me clear that up because people have asked me all the time, how come I stopped doing interviews? For those of you, some of y'all know, some of you don't know. So in the last 3 years, I signed up and I became an official with USA Boxing. And the goal of that was not only to get knowledge to be a referee and a judge, but eventually be a pro referee and judge. And unfortunately, it's a bad look in order to be an interviewer and interviewing local boxers or even the bigger boxers. And then turn around one day, I might have to referee and judge their fight. So therefore, we need to stay as unbiased as possible. Nothing looks worse than when I'm giving interviews like I used to do, and we're laughing and joking. Next thing you know, I'm sitting down judging a fight, and if it goes that boxer's way, without a
Yep.
shadow of a doubt, you're going to get a complaint from the other side, and the coach's corner, boxer's corner, saying, "Hey, this was favoritism." So
Yep.
therefore, I'm sorry I haven't been able to do any boxing interviews. We still have Alejandro Ramirez. Uh, Definitely 2026, he'll be back on the grind doing interviews. But what I love about it is me and Matthew can actually do basketball, which won't interfere at all with anything dealing with USA Boxing. And on top of that, Matthew is a pro referee and judge as well. So he already knows the pearls and depths that he can get into by doing interviews of boxers.
And
Um,
and let me
Go ahead.
hop in on that.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, because
absolutely.
it's so true what you're saying. Like, if somebody loses 3-2 decision, then they say, "Oh, well, you're buddies with this guy on social media and you're interviewing him." So I draw a
Uh-huh.
hard line. I have a lot of boxers that will reply to my stuff, whatever, and we love them all, but I don't add them, I don't follow them, I don't reply to
Right.
them, and by that token, I shouldn't interview them either. So I agree with what you're saying 100%.
Right. Absolutely. But basketball is free game. And let me tell you something, man. Matthew was blowing my mind. We're sitting down at breakfast at the Nationals in December in Lubbock, and he had this little game on his phone, and he was hitting me up with all these NBA questions. I was like, "Man, Matthew, like I love NBA and I love basketball, but man, you're like a historian. Like I've never got that deep into it." So I was like, I definitely got to do something with Matthew. So listen, we're going to have a great 2026. We're going to do this twice a week if possible.
Mhm.
Unless we got to go out of town for boxing events or emergencies or anything pops up. But for the most part, we're going to try to do at least 2 shows a week. And listen, as you go back and watch this, if you got any questions, comments, or anything you want us to cover, please drop it down in the comment section and we'll try to hit it up on the next go around.
Mhm.
So we have a list here. We're going to try to keep our show to on an average about an hour or less. We might go over, but listen, we're going to get into some topics, and most of them is going to be current topics. Sometimes we might go into some previous history. You know how people get into the arguments: who is the greatest of all time? And
Uh,
everybody knows it's Jordan
oh,
versus
yep.
Kobe or LeBron.
Uh-huh.
But we'll get into that another time. But what we're going to start off with is listen. So I'm in Houston, Matthews in San Antonio, and I'm not going to lie. I was loving the KD Kevin Durant trade here to Houston, but man, how can you overlook Wemby in San Antonio, where Matthew lives and resides? He is like the freak of nature that, I mean, Matthew, have you ever seen anybody at what is he, 7'4" or 7'5"? You know that he
Seven
can change it.
five. That's the word on the
7'5",
streets is that
right?
he's 7'5".
7'5". Have you ever seen, and don't get me wrong, Dirk Nowitzki was pretty good when he played for the Dallas, and he was the first center I saw that would drop three bombs like it was nothing. But Wemby not only shoots 3-pointers, but he can handle the rock like a point guard. What are your thoughts on Wemby?
Well, first of all, no disrespect to Dirk Nowitzki, but I don't think he's got anything on Wemby. And, it's all going to be about, can Wemby stay on the court? Because what we see on the court right now is like every single game, 30 points, 10 rebounds, 5 blocks. Almost every single time he plays a full game, he's going to get some highlight alley-oops. He's going to make some one-legged three-pointers, which that's his new little move, that little hop off the one-leg three-pointer like it's a teardrop shot.
Yeah.
And so it's incredible. And I just think, we beat OKC 3 times now. OKC is the defending champ. OKC looked like they were on pace to beat Golden State's record. We beat them 3 times.
Shout out to SGA.
Shout out to FTA. And so it's...
You call it FTA. Tell her all the times he goes to the free throw line.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is he the new James Harden that gets to go and when you just blow on him?
I think he is. And we can get into that, whatever, but I really think it's so impossible to guard him because he's just going to do that little thing he does, and then he gets the foul. But that notwithstanding, Wemby beat them boys 3 times. Yeah. And some of those games weren't even particularly close. And so we're going to be a threat to OKC, but it's all going to be about Wemby. If Wemby can stay healthy, which is a big, big if.
But you know what, Matthew? We talked a little bit earlier about this, right? As much as I like Wemby, I mean, geez, y'all have a 3-headed monster between him, Castle, and De'Aaron Fox. And shout out to De'Aaron. Anybody that knows, he's from right here in Houston. He went to Katy High School. But, man, even with Wemby down, the way that they can keep the pressure on and their defense prowess is just great.
I think it's real interesting because Castle was one of those guys that he won the Rookie of the Year last year, but a lot of people weren't really sold on him in San Antonio, and they still talked about him more as a trade asset than like a future building block for the team. But the way he's been playing this year, I mean, I think he's probably our 3rd best player right behind Wemby and Fox. And I don't think he's a trade asset. I think he's a long-term foundational piece, and you do whatever you can to keep. It's going to be interesting with Fox, depending on Harper's development. But I think for right now, you do anything you can to keep those 3 together.
And Matthew, being a historian, I'm going to have to dig. I'm going to start calling you the historian on here because there's times that you're going to have to refresh my memory. With Castle, right? What rookies was ahead of him last year?
Man, they're like all.
Who was the number 1 pick last year? I'm trying to remember.
Ricochet?
Was it
Zachary Ricochet for the Hawks? Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Ricochet for the Hawks, who now they say they want to trade him because it turns out that he's going to, be one of the worst number 1 picks in history, according to what they're saying. I don't know. Castle was way down that list. I don't want to give you a number. I don't want to make up a number, but he was down there.
We get into it. We can finally see.
He wasn't 1 or 2. And
who was the NBA rookie for? Would that be considered 2024 season?
Yeah, 2024, 2025.
Yeah, let me put 2024, 2025. Let me put that 25 on the end of it.
I don't want to lie to you.
Yep, let's see. Man, everybody, you gotta love AI. You can just
he was the 4th pick. So he wasn't way down there. He was the 4th pick. He was after Ricochet, Alex Sarr for Washington.
Oh, you already got it. Okay,
and
cool.
Reed Shepherd. And right now, I'm looking at his numbers right now. His career numbers are way better than all those guys. In fact, his numbers so far are better than everybody else in the 2024 draft class. His
Okay.
points per game's higher than everybody's. His assists are higher than everybody except for Isaiah Collier. No, I mean,
But overall, he's done better than mostly everybody. And of course, like you say, he was the rookie for last year as well.
he was rookie of the year last year, but
Rookie of the year.
people didn't really take him seriously in terms of being rookie of the year. They thought it was kind of a down year, which, you know, you look at some of the other star players. I don't see a lot of great future players. I mean, I see Devin Carter on there from Sacramento. He already doesn't
Yeah.
play. He was a lottery pick.
Yeah. You know why I think nobody really paid attention to Castle?
Why is
For
that?
some reason, I don't know what it was about last year. Here's my thoughts and theory, right? First of all, people were happy not to see LeBron in the playoffs, and they were happy not to see the Warriors in the playoffs, right? And it was such an anomaly to see Indiana versus Thunder, and everybody's looking at Halliburton having one of the greatest seasons he ever had. SGA is doing his thing. That in the midst of all that, when they announced Castle as the rookie of the year, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, okay, man, let's we got to see SGA and Halliburton go at it."
Oh, exactly.
It was unfortunate that they overshadowed his rookie of the year, but I personally think that's why he got overlooked because we're just happy to see anybody besides LeBron and Steph in the playoffs.
I think there's a little bit of that, and I think, you know, Halliburton's run in the playoffs was so incredible, but also
Mm-hmm.
I think people thought it was a weak rookie class, and so it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like, you know, LeBron versus Carmelo rookie of the year race. It was, you know,
Yeah,
Ricochet, Alex Sarr, and Castle.
yeah,
You know, not
right,
really huge names, and so
right.
yeah, it definitely got overlooked, especially with FTA winning his first
Yeah,
MVP.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, I tell you what, it's nothing like this rookie year, man. That Cooper flag is hot right now.
You know, I watched him play that 40-point game the other day, and he got it on a lot of shots. I mean, I think he shot like 32 shots that night. But to
Yeah,
have that kind of confidence at 18 years old, to put up
yep,
32 shots in a game, like, you
yes,
know, go get it, young fella.
yeah. And they're allowed, and they're giving it to him. They're feeding him too, which lets you know how much confidence they have in him, right?
Oh, they, you know, confidence in him, but also, you know, AD's been injured most of the year. Kyrie's out for the year. You know, at some point they got to sell tickets. They got to do something. So,
Yeah.
hey, man, let the young buck get some shots up.
All right, but let's go back to your San Antonio. I got it pulled up right here. Man, as much as we love Wemby, he's been hurt quite a lot these last couple of years. According to the reports, he hyperextended his left knee late in the Spurs 134-132 win over the Knicks. Which Jalen Brunson, I thought he was going to, man, with the way he turned and hit that shot at the end, I was like, man, if that would have been the game winner, or tie or game winner, been crazy. But Wemby landed awkwardly when fighting for the rebound versus New York, and his left knee buckled, sending him to the floor, grabbing at the knee. He limped to the locker room under his own power. Then he returned to the bench in warmups. And I also noticed the man was in Crocs. He needs a sponsorship with a Croc deal. So,
I
what are
don't.
your thoughts with Wemby being hurt? Because it's not the first time he's. Let's take that back. A lot of his miss last year was because of that sickness with, was it like a blood clot or something in his
Yeah,
shoulder?
which isn't like an injury. You know, he had the
Right.
blood clot thing, which is he's gonna have some freak injuries and some weird
Yeah.
things just because, you know, he's 7'5". Like we don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist, but I do know someone being that tall and that thin, you know, it's a little bit different. So his body is
Right.
gonna have weird things maybe that me and yours wouldn't have. And so, you know, the blood clotting thing was just like a freak thing. And the injury yesterday was really no big deal. I mean, he was at the end of the game celebrating with the team. Like he clearly already knew it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And a lot of it this year, because you see so many guys going down with ACL injuries. Like
Right.
when he when he strained his calf, the Spurs kept him out for probably longer than you usually would for that injury. And a lot of
Right.
that is just protecting their asset, you know, abundance of caution because they want Wemby to have a good long career and they don't want to have some of those like recriminations that kind of happened when Kawhi was having his injury problems when he was with the
Right.
Spurs. So they want to bring him along right. They don't want to rush him. You might not win the championship this year, but the plan is you're going to be winning them plenty of them down the road.
Yeah, true. Matter of fact, speaking of injuries, you made me think about. I don't know if you saw the reports today, but Steph Curry, where did he announce this at? He announced it. I don't know if it was during an interview or something, but LaMelo Ball has reached out to Steph Curry about his ankle injuries and how was Steph able to have a long career and what kind of therapy he did with his ankle injuries throughout his career. So I was kind of shocked that LaMelo Ball reached out to him how to overcome these ankle injuries.
That's pretty interesting. But I don't know that it's gonna matter for LaMelo's career like it mattered for Steph's career because, Steph's playing for a championship every year, and LaMelo's eliminated from the playoffs by February or January some years because Charlotte's so bad every year. So
Hmm.
a lot of why Steph was getting injured is because his team was going through June every year, and so I don't know how much the injuries are going to impact LaMelo's career and the way the playing for the Hornets is already kind of negatively impacting his career.
Yeah. Listen, can I make a prediction right here and now?
Yes, sir.
When LaMelo's contract is up and he is a free agent, I am predicting right now we can go back to January 1st, 2026.
Mm-hmm.
LaMelo will be traded to a team in California
And it
because
sounds like
he's from California. Either he's gonna be in LA with the Lakers, he's gonna be with the Clippers, or he's gonna be with Golden State Warriors. Mark my words, he's coming back to the West Coast. They're gonna snatch him up and he's gonna sell tickets because he's from Cali.
I hope not, and not because I don't like LaMelo or anything. It's actually because I like him so much. I like that he's in Charlotte because Charlotte doesn't care. They don't win. So LaMelo can play however he wants. And if you ever watch Charlotte's games, LaMelo is unlike any star we've ever seen. Some of like the little trick shots, the one-legged
Yeah,
shots, the spin moves, the moves that should be called travels, he literally does whatever he wants. And I want to see how a player like that ages. And
hmm,
I want him to be our science experiment. And I just want him to be able to do like whatever the fuck he wants in Charlotte
yeah,
for the next 10 to 15 years. And I
right,
don't want him to be burdened by expectations or another star. I think we
yeah.
should just let that happen in Charlotte.
Got you. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see.
Keep him
All
away
right.
from LA. Keep him in Charlotte.
All right. So that was it on Wemby. Now we're going to move on to, as my friend likes to call him, Anthony Street Clothes Davis. My
Uh-oh.
boy, my boy Carcino calls him that all the time. So Anthony Davis is coming off another minor lower body injury. He had a right strain to his right groin abductor on Christmas Day against the Warriors, leaving after about 11 minutes and then missing the Mavericks' next two games. Multiple reports list him as off the injury report and cleared to return versus the 76ers tomorrow, January the 2nd. But he's expected for his minutes to be right around 30. Anthony Davis. I was watching him when he was with the Pelicans. Then he was
Dominant.
in LA. And then I see him over here in Dallas. One thing that's always following was his injuries. Uh, is he another Wemby as far as he's so big and tall that he's just prone to injuries, or what is it?
I mean, maybe a little bit of that. I mean, his body's more compact than Wemby's. He's probably what, maybe 6'10", 6'11", and he's, strong. He's thicker than Wemby. Um, but he just has these nagging injuries that he's had his whole career, and really, I don't think they're ever going away. Me and him are the exact same age, 32. I think our birthdays are within a couple months of each other. And if he was getting those injuries at 22, 23, 24, pretty much
Uh
ever
huh.
since he's been out of Kentucky, I mean, I don't see his body strengthening, into his mid 30s. And it's unfortunate because he's one of the most impactful defensive players I've ever seen, both at the college level and at the NBA level. But I just don't see a scenario. I think he's great. Westbrook's my favorite player, so I watch whatever team he plays for. And the few games that Anthony Davis played with Westbrook in LA, I thought were very exciting. I thought he has so much potential to be a dominant center. Of course, he won one championship with the Pelicans. He was in the MVP contention almost every year. But besides that one chip with the Lakers and some of those great years with the Pelicans, I just think he's winding down. I don't see any
Yeah.
more MVP type years in Dallas or wherever he goes to next.
So Matthew, let me ask you this: if he would have never left, and I know this is a dream team, if he would have never left the Pelicans, and then they turn around and got Zion Williams with Brandon Ingram and McCollum, could they have made a run all the way to the finals with those four?
I just don't think it would have happened with keeping AD means you can't afford a Zion Williamson, or maybe you can't afford a CJ McCollum to be your third best player. But
well, remember Zion came in on a rookie contract. It's not like they had to pay him a lot of money his first 4 years.
But it's hard to say because they had good teams. They had one year where they had DeMarcus Cousins, they had Anthony Davis, they had Rajon Rondo, and they had Drew Holiday. I mean, Drew Holiday was the third best player on a championship team a couple years after that. DeMarcus Cousins, widely considered, one of the big what ifs, if he didn't have the injury and attitude issues. He was a great big man. And they couldn't get it done. I think they got to the second round before they got bounced. I want to say they got swept in the second round, and that was as far as they went. And so I think Ingram's nice, McCollum's nice, Williamson, he's got some question marks around him, but I don't think if he could get it done with that other team, that other Pelicans team, he was never going to get it done in New Orleans. I think he always needed to not necessarily be a second banana like he was for LeBron James, but to be able to focus on being the defensive anchor, because that Lakers defense in the bubble was dominant. I remember the only series I extensively watched was the Lakers and Rockets because Westbrook was on the Rockets, and they dominated the second half of every game. And that last game, they just won by 30 or 40, and the Rockets only managed like 70 or 80 points. And that was because, Davis was just so dominant in the paint. And he's still dominant, but maybe give him like a Bill Walton role, like a 6-man veteran leader coming off the bench wherever he goes next, or if he stays in Dallas.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting thoughts on that. All right. Next, we're going to move on to one of your players that you love and admire, Russell Westbrook. He's currently the starting point guard with the Sacramento Kings on a 1-year veteran minimum deal, playing in his 18th NBA season. And right now in December, they got a win over the Mavericks. Westbrook posted 21 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds, helping the Kings to a 113-107 victory. He has climbed to the 7th on the NBA's all-time assist list and recently passed 25,000 career points and 2,000 steals while wearing a Kings jersey. Let's go back to what you just mentioned about the disrespect, because at first it looked like nobody was going to pick up Westbrook. And even the veterans and people that have been around 8+ years just was like, wow, as much as this man has contributed. And one thing about it, he might not be the best player in the NBA, but one thing about Westbrook, he is going to give you 150% every single time he goes out.
That's what they say. I knew you were going to say that, because that's what everyone says, and it's true. I think the thing about Westbrook is that he wants to play, and if he doesn't get to play, he pouts. And you can see him on the bench, looking angry with that typical angry Westbrook face. And, that he's been good on the Kings. The performances have been uneven because he's got a high-quality backup in Dennis Schroeder, and they've been splitting the minutes. And then every time they pull Russ, he kind of pouts, and it looks worse on a bad team. And the Kings are a horrible team. Any team with Zach LaVine, because Zach LaVine doesn't play defense, but he's so good on offense that if he's on your team, he's going to play 34, 36 minutes a game. And he's just a complete he's a traffic cone on defense. I mean, he got in that fight with the Kings fan. There was that Kings super fan in the second row yelling at him, telling him to play some damn defense.
Right.
And it's true. And so
I forgot about that. That was like a month ago.
Yeah, like a month ago. He got fans yelling at him to play some defense. And he told the fan, the fan said, I want to see you play some defense. And Zach told him, well, then you better leave. Which to me says, because you ain't going to see me play no defense. And he's on the Kings. And I think it's disrespectful, but it's hard for him to be on a contender because he wants a meaningful role. And the contenders always want him to fit into this 18 to 24 minute spark plug bench leader kind of guy. And he will always push back against that role. It was a huge source of tension last year with Denver,
Mhm.
where he actually started 36 games and played 28 minutes a
Right.
game. So you're going to tell me that he can play 28 minutes a game for Denver, who's widely considered one of the best
Right.
teams in the league, but he doesn't belong in the league the next year? That's crazy to me. But I think it's because the contenders see the issue that he's going to bring drama to the locker room, because it's not like he's not saying pay me or, I don't like my teammates, this or that. Literally his issue is he wants to play. He wants to
Right.
have a meaningful role. And when he doesn't have the role he thinks he deserves, it's going to bring attention with him and any contenders. And that's why he's in Sacramento. It has nothing to do with his game, because I think his game is still, he's not as sharp as his prime, but he's averaging 14, 7, and 7 right now. I mean, not many players average those splits.
Right. And look, and on top of that, isn't the Sacramento Kings just a remix of the Chicago Bulls?
It
They just
is.
basically just took them from everybody from Chicago and brought them to Sacramento.
Sabonis, DeRozan, and Levine, the three best
Right.
players on. Well, I don't know. I guess Sabonis was in Indiana.
He was in,
So
yeah, yeah.
Levine and DeRozan, but instead of Vucevic, they have Sabonis. So they even have
Right.
like their European big man.
So even with those players, right? Westbrook, Levine, and DeRozan, right? What is it about them where they just can't click? Like, I mean,
Well,
because they have their own style, their own thing, but they just can't mesh together and just rack up wins for some reason. Do you think all of it comes down to defense?
yeah, I mean, Westbrook and DeRozan are the only ones playing hard every night, and the rookies. Sabonis pouts, and I think he takes plays off. Levine definitely takes plays off on defense and is a complete ball stopper on offense. I mean, you see a dog like DeMar. I mean, he plays his ass off whether they're down 40 or up 40. Well, they haven't been up 40 this year, but,
Yeah.
whether they're up 10 or down 40, which I've seen a lot this year, DeMar really plays his ass off. And I loved him in San Antonio when he was there a few years ago, and watching him this year on Sacramento, this horrible team, how hard he plays, I really respect it. But
Yeah.
I think at some point they're going to have to trade Levine. I think they should trade Schroeder, and I think they should build the focus on building around the rookies, Nick Clifford,
Hmm.
Maxi Reynal, and I think Westbrook is a big man feeder. I mean, he gets so many assists to Maxi. Nobody knew who Maxi Reynal was, 2 months
Yeah.
ago, and now he's averaging something like 10 points and 8 rebounds, and a lot of that's because Russ gets the rookies involved. So if I'm the Kings front
Right.
office, I'm keeping DeMar for now. I'm keeping Russ. I'm getting rid of Levine, getting rid of Sabonis, getting rid of Schroeder, and letting the rookies play.
Mm.
That's what I'm
Okay.
doing.
I guess so, because technically with Russ and DeRozan, you do have veterans that can help lead the team, and I guess you do kind of need that young, fresh energy running up and down the court.
You have respected veterans in Russ and DeMar. A lot of these guys grew up idolizing those guys, especially Russ when he was in his MVP OKC era. We kind of underestimate, how many people that grew up play basketball now. Russ was their favorite player when they were growing up.
So you know what, and I hate to touch on this, right? And if Russell Westbrook, if you ever watch this, please don't take this as disrespect. I'm just going to quote what was being said in the past. And Matthew, with how hard it is to get into the NBA, how hard Russell plays, and like you said, he has a family, he has a wife, he has kids. Was Skip Bayless way too hard in calling him Russell Westbrook?
They're just trying to get views. They don't actually care about anything they say. They realize that Russ has a huge fan base. People don't know this. Russ has the third most followed Instagram account, just behind LeBron and Steph, of all the NBA
Wow.
players.
Oh, I didn't
He,
realize that.
he's a popular player, and he's a lightning rod. So what these guys kind of figured out is they could just say Russ's name, and that's going to be 1,000 views, 1,000,000 views, whatever amount of views is considered proper. And besides maybe LeBron and Curry, he's the only guy that really has that power. I mean, even they still talk about him now, despite the fact that he's not a major star. And in some cases, you hear more about Russ than like the contemporary stars like FTA and Halliburton and all of those guys, because he's still very popular. You still see a lot of Russ jerseys around. I was at the club the other day. I saw a Westbrook UCLA jersey, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so they know they could say his name. It'll get a certain amount of views. And the other thing is they know he'll react. Like, he's
Right.
always getting these fans kicked out of the game now. And I don't like to offer an opinion on that specifically because, my thoughts are kind of conflicted. But what I do know is I don't like how many people root against him because in the
Right.
course of his career, the ups and downs, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like he should be like a hero of the average man because the
Yeah.
average man or woman's life is more like
Mm-hmm.
Russ. It's
Right.
got the ups, it's got the downs, the high highs, the low lows. Our
Right.
lives are more like than LeBron or Curry, these charmed
Right.
lives. And so I wish
Yeah.
fans just appreciated Russ more.
Got you. Okay, that makes sense. Now we're going to move on to a different subject, which I think arguably is the best, and I know you probably think it's Wemby, but the best center over the last 5 years, dominating everybody, and that's the
Uh,
Joker. And
for
unfortunately,
now,
his left knee buckled after his teammate stepped on his foot near the end of the first half versus Miami, and he went down grabbing a knee before limping back to the locker room. He was ruled out for the rest of the game and immediately scheduled for imaging to determine the extent of the injury. And the test confirmed his a hyperextended left knee with a bone bruise, but his ligaments are intact, so he doesn't need surgery. It's letting us know that Denver announced that he will be out at least a month and reevaluated in about 4 weeks, which will likely cost him 12, 16 games and probably knocks him out of the MVP race, but keeps the Nuggets title hopes alive once he's back. What are your thoughts on Nikolai? Is he one of the most dominating centers in the last 5 years?
yes. So I watched every Nuggets game last year because that's the
Every
team
Nuggets game?
because that's the team
Wow.
Russ was on. So I watch whatever team Russ is on, I watch all their games. And so
Right.
last year I watched, of the 82 games, I probably skipped the ones where Russ sat out. But other than that, I probably watched all of them, including the playoffs. He's incredible. And the way he gets everybody involved, the way he's dominant in a way most big men aren't. When we think of a dominant big man, we think of Shaq,
Yeah.
dunking and kind of, putting his nuts in somebody's face. But
Right. Right.
Jokic is not like that. Jokic can hit the three.
Yeah.
Jokic always makes the right pass. Always makes the right pass. Always sees the guy cutting. Eyes in the back of his head. So yes, and yes, you're right. He is better than Wemby for now. For now, we're gonna see what happens. But he's the best player in the game right now. I thought he should have won the MVP last year over SGA. I think there's a pretty good case he should have won it over Embiid, but I get why you don't want to give the same guy the award 5 or 6 times. I get the voters get
Right.
tired of that. But in
Sure.
terms of what he does and the impact, and you're going to see it because the Nuggets are probably going to suck for the next month. But not to bring everything back to Westbrook, but Westbrook's about 28 triple doubles ahead of Jokic on the all-time list. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping over the next month, Russ can get a few so he can pad his lead over Jokic on the all-time triple doubles list.
All right. Let me ask you this, Matthew. With Joker being out the next 4 weeks or so, what is it about the Denver Nuggets where you still got two solid players in Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon? What is it about them two that's just not enough to carry that team?
We've seen it, we've seen it like with the Magic where Aaron Gordon was the best player and they were good. Like he's not bad in any. I think they would go like 41-41, barely make the playoffs. But as the third best player on the Nuggets, I mean, he's always open because Jokic always sees him. He has more time to focus on defense, and he's a great defender. I just think they're gonna have to play outside their roles now. Murray, you'd want the step up to come from Murray more than you'd want it to come from Gordon. Because I think if Gordon is having to dominate the games, that's a bad sign. But we're
Right.
about to see over the next month just how good Jamal Murray really is because he's going to be asked to kind of carry the team.
Right, right. So let's look at the Denver Nuggets lineup. So you got Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, of course, but you also had Christian Braun and Cameron Johnson. What is it about Christian and Cameron that just not able to pull their weight like it need to?
Hey, these guys are good. Christian Braun is incredible. I watched him last year. He is one of the best finishers in the league. They still have talent. So, if let's say they play 12 games next month, if they could go 8-4, 9-3, I mean, that's a positive sign because Murray can dominate a game. but
Yeah.
well, Murray can dominate a quarter. I don't know if I
Hmm.
trust him to dominate for 4 quarters like you can trust Jokic.
Hmm.
Christian Brown is a good finisher, but it helps when you have someone like Jokic to get you the ball.
Oh,
Gordon,
also, I left out his backup, Jonas. How do you say his last name?
Valanciunas,
Valanciunas. Yeah,
he's not going to get you anywhere. I mean, we've seen him on the teams he's on.
yeah.
We've seen him on
Yeah.
Toronto, and Toronto was probably his prime, and he's good, but he should never be better than like the fourth or fifth best player on your team, if that. So the
Right.
idea that you're going to ask him to fill in for Nikola
Yeah.
Jokic is it's a dubious proposition at best. So we'll see how it goes. If I'm the Nuggets, I think I'd be happy to be 6-6 over the next month, but I would love to be surprised. I would love to be surprised, but I don't think it's going to be pretty.
Okay. Let's see. Let's also go to the next best thing, which they lost the other day after they finished singing "Happy Birthday," and that was to LeBron James, turning 41 years old. Is it 23 years now? Is it
I
23
think
years?
I
I
think you're
think 23
23,
years. Yeah, I think I want to say
2003
23
draft.
years. Yeah, 1840. Yeah, 23 years in. They seem like they just cannot. Uh, I'm not saying the Lakers aren't doing bad overall, but they've been in a slump lately. And with Luca coming there, I was like, okay, this is pretty good, right? But people are sleeping on Austin Reeves. I'm like, Luca's doing his thing. Austin Reeves doing his thing. You're getting solid rebounds from Aiden.
Yeah, but that's all you're
Look,
getting from Aiden.
yeah, but that's it. Listen, sometimes all you need is just a rebounder or a person to just get you some fouls, so do a little hack and shack. But LeBron is, from my understanding, what I see people saying, like he's doing the best that he can, right? And I think the problem is people are looking for the 30-year-old, 35-year-old LeBron. He's just not that anymore. And even though he's putting up solid numbers, uh, he cannot give you 100% defense when he was younger like he is now. What are your thoughts on LeBron being 41? And we know Lakers are a ride or die with star players, right? Even if you're declining. Like, well, I'll take that back. They did get rid of Shaq. But,
But that was
people
after
like,
they won a few championships.
yeah, after
They'd
they won
already
a
kind
few
of accomplished the
championships.
goal.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think I've become a little bit of a LeBron hater after the Westbrook situation in LA, but I
Well,
think
let me ask you. So, do you feel that it was? I'm glad you said that. Before we talk about his age, the biggest controversy, and even Russ hinted at this. Russ truly feels that LeBron got him kicked out of the Lakers. Do you think that's a true statement? Do you think LeBron has something to do with him getting kicked out?
well, for sure, I think that. I think anybody like, with eyes could say that, but it may have been warranted because Russ clearly wasn't fitting that roster. But I think he didn't fit that roster because if you bring Westbrook in, you got to let him play point guard. You can't sit him in the corner. Now, he's adapted over the years because he's been like a bench player and a role player long enough to where he's kind of got that corner three down. But when they brought him in, he was a star point guard that was
Uh huh.
known historically for being bad off ball. And so if you're LeBron and you go get your buddy Russ, why are you going to put him in the corner like he's Ray Allen? Why are you going to have him sit and watch in the corner? It just didn't make sense. If that was going to be Russ's role, then he should have never came. And I think LeBron and Russ, it was kind of a match made in hell.
Yeah.
Because this is why I don't think LeBron and Luke is working. Partially, probably why LeBron and Russ didn't work. Although kind of a different power dynamic. Because I would say LeBron had the power, where I would say Luka now has more power than LeBron. It's egos. And LeBron has a huge ego, and Luka has a huge ego. And sometimes I watch the games of Luka, and I think, man, this guy doesn't seem like a great teammate. Like the way anytime someone misses or doesn't get a rebound or does something wrong, the way he gives them that look, that stink face. And I
Yeah.
think it's got to be tough for the other guys when Luka is constantly criticizing you and giving you dirty looks. and LeBron is still demanding to play on ball. Like, even though he's 41, he's been in the league 23 seasons. And to a degree, has some of the same issues as Westbrook, where when you take out the athleticism, the pure shot isn't that great.
Right.
So it's hard to have him play off ball. And but he's going to demand to be in the games. He's going to demand to play on ball in the games, at least sometimes. I think he's going to start bending a little on that just because it's so obvious. And he's going to demand to use a roster spot on his son. And so I think there's some issues that come with having this version of LeBron. But, you know, for the Lakers, it's probably worth it because you want a star. There's no bigger star than LeBron. Yeah. You're probably not going to win anyway if he's not there. Yeah. I don't think with that roster they're winning the title without LeBron, although maybe if they had LeBron, the money in LeBron's contract to go get some better players. Right. But LeBron's too much of a legend in the game. Nobody's going to unceremoniously cut or trade LeBron.
Right.
So you just got to kind of live with it, but I don't think it's going to work with LeBron and Luka. I don't. I think their egos are too big, and at some point they're going to clash, and the team will collapse.
Okay. So, you know who I think gets slept on a lot is Austin Reeves, right? You know who Austin Reeves put me in mind of? He puts me, and when I say this, I know this is going to throw people off until I explain it. Austin Reeves puts me in mind of Kyle Korver when he played for Cleveland with LeBron. What I mean by that is Austin Reeves is 10 times better than Kyle Korver, right?
Definitely.
But Kyle would, out of nowhere, nobody even knows he's even on the basketball court. He gets fed the ball and he makes the game winner. And I promise you, Austin Reeves is that guy, right? Austin Reeves is the kind of guy that has saved the Lakers over and over and over. He's not the guy you expect for you to get the ball to, but some miraculous way he gets the ball and be scoring a game-winning shot, or he'll break that rhythm of the other team with just that shot. Then he gets fouled, and he gets another free throw. It's like he's that unexpected ball player that will just hurt the other team because nobody's focused on him. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, I think he gets a lot of good looks and good drives to the hoop because he's the third option. I think he's very good. I think he's crafty. You know, I've watched him grow a little bit because I saw his first 2 years when he played with Russ, and then now I've seen a few games with him since. His game, especially the moves he has getting to the basket, has definitely evolved. I'd be curious either when LeBron retires or if he gets traded from the Lakers. I'd be curious to see how he looks as a second option. I don't ever see him being a first option in the NBA, but I would be curious to see when he has better defenders guarding him every night, you know, when there's no Luka, no LeBron, and it's just him. And people might point to the other day when Luka and LeBron were out and he had a 50-piece. So, you know, he can do it for sure in small doses. I'd be curious to see an 82-game season with him as the second option because he's very good, but I need to see a full year of it as the second option before I proclaim him the second coming. Well, he's way better than Kyle Korver, though. I'll give him that. Kyle Korver made the All-Star game 1 year, averaging 13, 5, and 5. You know, Austin Reeves has already had better years than that.
Yeah. All right, so let's transition. At one point, a few years ago, during the COVID era, right up here at the top was the Bucks.
Yeah.
With Giannis. Now they're slowly, I'm not even going to say slowly, they're on a fast decline going down. Do you think a lot of it has to do with the players themselves, or that people are demotivated by the trade rumors of getting rid of Giannis? And should he be traded? What do the Bucks need right now to break their slump?
Man, it's hard to say because, you know, they had a year of Damian Lillard and they were still pretty mediocre.
Why didn't that work out?
I don't know.
Damian Lillard was. Why didn't that work out for them?
I have no idea because you would think Kevin Dame out there would open the floor for Giannis to get it whatever he wanted at the rim. And if not, you think he would just be kicking it out to Damian Lillard. it's hard to say, maybe they don't have enough money to get the role players that they want. Another case of, with Giannis, he's going to have a family member taking up a roster spot. And that's why with him, I don't know why he'd want to trade. The Bucks have signed his brother not to a G League contract, although they've signed his other brother to a G League contract. Right now, there's two Giannis brothers on the Bucks organization, but one Thanasis on the actual team, and it's been a good partnership. They signed his brother. They've won a championship. This is his 13th season with them. This isn't like Shaq with the Magic, where he was only there 4 seasons, or even like Dwight with the Magic, where he was there 6 or 7 seasons.
Yeah.
Giannis has been there 13 seasons. He grew
Wow,
up there.
has it been that long?
Yeah, this is 13th year. And you see those shots of his rookie year, how he's this scrawny little 18-year-old and what he's grown into. It would be such a tragedy for Milwaukee and for Giannis personally, for the city and for Giannis's legacy. I think it's so great that he's been so dominant, just a guaranteed 30-12 every season on this small market Milwaukee Bucks team. I just hate it. I hate the thought of him getting traded. I know bringing the chip to the city was important. I know he's beloved there, and I know he's good there, and it's good to have a good Milwaukee team and not just have everything running out of LA and New York and Texas. But they haven't been good this year. They haven't been good last year. I think they weren't good 2 years ago, and I don't know if it's Doc Rivers. I know a lot of people criticize Doc Rivers. I don't know enough about X's and O's to say Doc did this, Doc did that. He's won a lot of ball games. He's won a championship. I think you got to give him some respect there. Maybe some of it's bad luck. Right after they won the championship, Chris Middleton starts slowing down, starts getting injured. Brooke Lopez, who was like their defensive anchor and also stretched the floor for them, able to make threes, starts becoming just genuinely washed up after that season.
Right.
Drew Holiday, I can't even think where's Drew now? Boston? He's not on Milwaukee no more. So through a combination of probably some bad general managership and just the natural progression of time, I don't think they've done anything wrong. They've assembled some good teams around Giannis, and the next 2 years after the championship, it was the same team around him.
Yeah.
And then they went big. They made the leap, the splashy trade, trying to get Dame, and it didn't work out. But I think they're trying, and I would hate for that. I would hate for that marriage to end in divorce, because I love Giannis on the Bucks. I love Giannis as a player, as a stat head. I love looking at Giannis's stats. He's got
matter of fact, let me give you those stats right now for the 2025-26. He's averaging 28.9 points per game, 10 rebounds per game, and 5.8 assists per game. And his field goal percentage is about 64%, which is elite for a high usage star.
Dominant.
Yep.
He's dominant. And this is a year where they kind of suck. And he's still getting those numbers, man. I'm looking at 64%.
Yep.
And he's shooting 39% from 3.
Yeah.
He's always going to be a bad free throw shooter, so we know about that. And if you just look at it, just every year, 30-11, 30-11, 31-12, and the only thing I can compare it to is when you look at like mid-career LeBron, and just every year 27, 7-7 on 50% shooting. It's beautiful to look at, and Giannis has beautiful stats to look at. And the Bucks have tried their best to build a winner around him, and I hope somehow, some way, they can come back together. I'm looking at their roster right now.
Yeah, let's look at this. So I wanted to pull up Bobby Portis stats. Right now, he's averaging 13 points, 6 rebounds, in a little under 24 minutes. Rebounds 6.4, assists 1.3, shooting roughly 49% from the field and 47% from the 3, with about 71% from the line. With Bobby Portis, is he doing too much barking and not enough bite? Should he be doing more to help?
Well, he's about where you want him.
It away. Okay,
he's where you want, because the
who needs to step it up then?
Well, I mean, the issue is that like you got guys that I've never heard of that are playing major minutes. Now, maybe I'm not a real basketball head, but I see Ryan Rollins is the second best player on the team this year.
Let me see.
And so they've made some splashy moves. AJ Green, that's another guy who, it's
Right.
and maybe we're not real basketball fans. Okay, AJ Green. I've never seen this guy in my life.
Yeah, Kevin Porter Jr.
I've never seen this guy AJ Green a day in my life, and he looks
Gary
like
Gary Trent Jr., Kyle
uh
Kuzma.
they got Miles Turner in the offseason, so they wouldn't have got Miles.
Yeah.
And you go get a big
Miles
man.
used to be with Indiana, right?
Yeah, he was a major piece of that championship team, or the team that pushed SGA to 7 games. So they're trying, and especially when you go get a big man, because you're saying, oh, Giannis, we want you to be able to relax a little. Sometimes we want to take some of that defensive burden off you, so we go get a great defensive big man like Miles Turner that can also stretch the floor. So they're trying to win, and I hope they can come together. They need some help though. And
let's
it's not
look at the
Thanasis.
top stats from the top 5 here. So we have
AJ Green,
Giannis 28-9, Kevin Porter 18-8. Then from there it goes straight down. Gary Trent 9, Kyle Kuzma maybe getting you 5-6 rebounds. Miles Turner low teens at points, 7-8 rebounds. Gary Trent and Kyle Kuzma is just not adding anything to the team.
No, and I think that's a kind of a story of Kuzma's career. He's one of those guys that the way they used to talk about Eric Bledsoe, that he's good enough to do a lot of things. So if he's on your team, you're going to feel like you have to play him because he's there and he's good enough. He's like that shirt you have in your closet where it's not the freshest shirt. You don't pull the most shorties in it, but it's like your third or fourth best shirt, and it's all reliable. And if you see it in your closet, you're going to have to wear it, but it's not doing anything for you.
Right.
And that's Eric Bledsoe, who also played on the Bucks, I think, for a good portion of his career. And that's Kyle Kuzma. And so you gotta move on.
Right.
You gotta move on. You gotta replace some of these guys I've never heard of. Now, maybe, like I said, maybe I just don't know basketball anymore, but I don't think AJ Green would be playing 30 minutes on my team.
Right. All right, and Matthew, we're going to close it out. Last but not least, let's talk about. We start off with Wemby in San Antonio. Let's end it with the Houston Rockets. The Rockets are having a strong season so far, sitting around 20-10, firmly in the Western Conference playoff mix. Kevin Durant leading them in scoring and efficiency. Right now, Kevin Durant is averaging 25 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Elite shooting at about 52.2%.
Beautiful.
And 43.7 in three-pointers. Followed by Alperen Sengun at 22.7, 9 rebounds, almost 7 assists, almost 2 steals, and a block a game. Amin Thompson sitting at 17.8, 7.4 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.5 steals. And Jabari Smith, 15.8, almost 7 rebounds. And Reed Shepherd, which he's growing and becoming really good, 13 points, 3 assists, 42% from the 3, and almost 2 steals a game. The Rockets, even though the record is 20-10, overall, they're not doing too bad. What are your thoughts on the Rockets? And now that they have Kevin Durant?
I got one thought, and I got one thought only. And maybe I'm an old head for saying this, but that is Kevin Durant. That is KD. I'm so tired of watching these young cats. I don't care how good Thompson and Jabari Smith and Reed Shepherd. They got to stop looking off Kevin Durant. You pass Kevin Durant the ball. I don't know. And Kevin Durant's an ethical star. He's an efficient star. So he's going to get his points with 12, 15 shots, whatever. But he's averaging 25. He could be averaging 45 if he took as many shots a game as he deserves, because the man's a walking bucket. And the Rockets games just have me pulling my hair out, because I don't know how many times I got to see Thompson and Jabari Smith look off Kevin Durant before they go do a contested runner. And I'm tired of seeing it. Pass the ball to Kevin Durant. It's not,
or if you can't get it to Kevin, what about if they got it to Alperen Sengun?
Pass the ball to Kevin Durant. Pass the
Okay.
ball to Kev. No. Shingun's great. Shingun's great. He's good. If you need a post play, yes, get the ball to Shingun. I've seen him do that little crafty little hook shot. I've seen him get a
Yeah.
lot of offensive rebound putbacks. Eventually, he's going to have a reliable 3-pointer. But I do not want to see any. And, my boy Westbrook, I know Kevin Durant's getting nightmares watching Thompson. I seen Thompson do that same shit Westbrook used to do. And I love Westbrook, but that same stuff where it's time to get Durant the ball. Oh, but here comes Thompson, spin move, contested runner, miss. And you got to get the ball to Durant. Durant's not going to demand it. Durant's a chill dude. I mean, we seen that. We've seen his game like 18 years now. He's not going to be out there barking at guys to get him the ball. But if he's going to get it, he's going to go get a bucket. So Thompson, Jabari Smith, Reed Shepherd, feed your lead dog. Feed KD.
Right. What do you think they should have got rid of Jalen Green?
Yes.
Really? Why?
Look, you got Durant there. So
Okay.
Jalen Green's inefficient. He plays the same position as Durant. At best, he's going to be a 6th man. But then, halfway through the season, he's going to be annoyed that he's the 6th man. He's going to start causing trouble because his talent would dictate being more than a 6th man. And I don't know if that's what he's doing in Phoenix, but I don't think Phoenix is going to be a real contender anyway, so it doesn't matter. And I'm going to look up his numbers now.
All right, Matthew.
He must be injured.
All right, Matthew. Should they have kept Dylan Brooks?
No. No, because he's like a good heel on a mid playoff team, but on a team that really wants to win, you don't want him and his antics, because it's like when you're a good enough team, like the Warriors can deal with a couple of Draymond's antics every year. But if you haven't built like that championship culture, I just think he's the kind of player that costs your team like 3 weeks of momentum in a season because he gets suspended for, punting the ball into the stands or like doing a Joanna man and stripping down in game or something. I don't know what crazy antics he's going to do, but I know it's going to cost your team 2 or 3 weeks of momentum in a crucial part of the year. And it kind of did it to the Grizzlies, although I think they blamed him I think they wanted to blame him because the whole team was falling apart. But no, I want Brooks far away from the Rockets because I think the Rockets are a good team. I think Durant is one of the defining superstars in my era. I think Ime Udoka is a great coach. I saw him walking on the Riverwalk the other day when Houston and San Antonio played. So shout out Coach Ime, enjoying the Riverwalk. We'd love to have you back in San Antonio, Coach. Stay a while. But good coach, great star player, good young players, good big man, Shingun. But Thompson, Smith, other guys, feed KD. That's all you got to do.
All right, Matthew, one last question, then we're going to wrap it up. If you had to choose for a player to be on your team that is going to give you antics, hype up your team, and make a difference in doing both things, and you had to choose between these 4 players, would you take? All right, now let's look at it, right? That's going to cause disruption. That's going to just get underneath people's skin. That's going to get the crowd hype and the players hype. That's going to make a somewhat moderate difference in swinging the game. And out of the 4 people, would you want Pat Beverly on your team, or Dylan Brooks, or Draymond Green, or Isaiah Stewart?
I think of those 4, you almost have to go with Draymond. And I think his chemistry with Steph and the passing might be a little overrated just because, well, if you're passing the ball to Steph Curry, of course he's going to make the shots. But Draymond's a legitimate all-world defender, especially prime Draymond, that could guard basically any position. And so those other guys are all steam, no skills. Draymond's been a legitimate all-NBA defender for, I don't say most of his career, but probably all his career. I mean, I'm not going to count his rookie year when he was playing maybe 10 minutes a game. People are still calling him Draymond. But I do remember them in the Nuggets that year when they played the Nuggets in the playoffs that year. He was pretty impactful. But he has a real skill in defense. And you'll remember before Durant came, that last year, the 73 win Warriors, he was averaging like 15, 10, and 5. So he's an impactful player where those other three getting a lot of hot air. A lot of hot air, not a lot of hot game.
Okay.
Who would you
Okay.
pick?
I don't know why, man. I'm a fan of Patrick Beverly.
I had a feeling you were going to say that. It's probably because he played in Houston a little bit.
Not just so much that he is out of all those players, I think he got underneath the skin of LeBron James more than Dylan Brooks. Like LeBron can kind of like push and argue with Dylan, and he can also get Dylan Brooks out of his game. Depends on how LeBron responds. But Patrick Beverly, like I promise you, I think LeBron was like, please let this man retire. Like he's just killing me, and he's just like a gnat, and he just won't go.
LeBron's had a few of those guys over the years, going back to like a Lance Stevenson, or even people don't remember this, but like
Guitar Hero, Lance
yeah,
Stevenson, the Guitar
yeah.
Hero. Oh my, I would love it when he hit plays. Now he's the kind of guy that would get you hype on your team, man.
But those guys are a dime a dozen. There's only one LeBron, but there's a lot of LeBron stoppers and LeBron annoyers. I mean, I remember when Deshaun Stevenson was thought of as not a LeBron rival, but as like one of those annoying type don't like LeBron players, and that's my brand. I mean, there's been a lot of these guys over the years, and LeBron, despite some of my thoughts about him now and what some may think about him, he's outlasted all these guys. These guys aren't legit. They get under his skin maybe one game, and then he knocks them out of the playoffs and sends them into retirement.
Do you remember? All right, and then we'll wrap it up. Do you remember who was Kobe Bryant's worst defensive nightmare that he hate when they got in the game and played against him?
I know people who claim it. Who do you think it is, or who are you gonna say?
From what I saw and what I see people around the league, it was always Bruce Bowen.
Bruce Bowen. But Bruce Bowen was one of those ones, and he played a certain kind of way that you're basically not allowed to play anymore. One,
Right.
he was a dirty player. I mean, he was on the Spurs. I watched many of his games. I saw him fucking drop kick somebody. I mean, man was a dirty player, but he didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
He didn't give a shit at all, and I think you need a little bit of that, and that's why I think the best Kobe guarders, or the best defenders of any wing, were over the last few years, or 2 decades maybe, Bruce Bowen and Tony Allen from the Grizzlies.
Oh
And
yeah.
because they didn't give a shit, and it wasn't, they weren't those guys. What did they chirp on? I don't remember hearing any of them chirping about anything. They're just playing ball.
Yeah.
And so they didn't have the highs and lows, these guys like Dylan Brooks that talk a lot, because they get deflated when they chirp, but then LeBron makes a bucket on them, then they're fucking pouting. And so
Right.
Bruce Bowen, I think that's a good call. I thought you were gonna say something like Ruben Patterson or Bonzi Wells or
No.
Bruce Bowen. That's a good pick.
Yep. All right, man. Boxing fans and basketball fans, we hope you enjoyed this session. Like I said, me and Matthew started off January 1st, the new year, with some good topics here. And please, when we put out these clips, we will be chopping it up. We'll put out the full one and we'll chop it up based on each subject that we carried. And make sure you leave your likes and comments down below, and make sure you share it. And who do you want us to talk about next? Just drop it in the comment section. Thank you for supporting us, and we will be back next Tuesday to drop another video. Matthew, it's a pleasure being with you, and I'm looking forward to a great 2026.
See you on Tuesday.
All right, we're out.